Now, percentage increase and decrease is a really key topic at GCSE, and the method you use will probably be governed by whether it's a calculator paper or non-calculator paper in an exam. If it's not an exam, then whichever's quickest, which is usually the calculator method. Now, the reason I would really advocate you knowing how to do it quickly on a calculator is also because it will help you when it comes to a topic like compound interest and depreciation to have an understanding of these things that we call multipliers, whereas having to do repeated non-calculator increases or decreases can be very, very difficult and time consuming. So you really need an understanding of multipliers going forwards is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so what is a multiplier? So to calculate a 4% increase, hopefully you know that if we are finding 4% of something, we could divide the number by 100 and then times by 4. Dividing by 100 would give us 1%, and then timesing that by 4 would give us 4%. Now when we combine those steps into one, dividing by 100 and then timesing by 4, what you've really done there is you've timesed by 4 hundredths. Okay, or if we write that as a decimal, you've timesed by 0.04, which is a bit easier to use. Okay, it saves us having to use a fraction button, which a lot of calculators don't have. And now that will find you 4% of something, but then you will need to add it back on to the original amount. Here's a quick way to do it. We should put those out. The original amount is 100%. And when we add on 4%, we've now got 104%. That itself as a decimal is as a fraction is 104 over 100, because that's what percent means. It means per 100, and that as a decimal is 1.04. So if I want to increase something by 4%, just times it by 1.04. And that will find me 104%, and therefore I will have increased the amount by 4%. So the decimal multiplier is 1.04. And part B, to increase by 15%, 100% plus 15% is 115%. 115% as a decimal is 1.15. Okay, and so it goes on from there. 30% increase, that's going to be 130%, so 1.30. You don't need the 0, so you could just put 1.3. I think where a lot of people get confused with these is they're tempted to put 1.4 for a question like A, and they're not sure what to put for something like C therefore if they've done that. Okay, D, 29%, so adding 29% to 100% give us 129%, which is 1.29, and so on. The only tricky ones here are the ones that are more than 100%, so I'll fill in these in a minute. 150% increase, the same rules apply, so if I add that to 100%, I've now got 250% of what I had to begin with, which is 2.5 as a multiplier. Okay, it's double and then 50% again. Same for this one, add it to 100%, we'd have 208, divide by 100 to get the decimal, so 2.08. Okay, I'll fill in the rest. Actually, I'll just go through some of these decimal ones first. So if I add 1.5% to 100%, that will give me 101.5%. So that as a decimal is 1.015. Okay, so it's about getting the digits in the right place. Okay, I'll pause it now and fill in the rest, and then you can mark. And there's the answers. Okay, question 2 is non-calculators, so we may not be using this method. We may be going back to using an old method like nice easy percentage chunks. So increase 20 by 50%, well 50% is half, so we're going to increase it by half of itself, which is 10, so that will give us 30. Nice easy question. B, increase 60p by 10%. Well, 10% is 1/10, and 1/10 of 60p is 6p, so we're increasing by 6p, so the answer will be 66p. Increase by 25%, so what fraction is 25%? It's a quarter. So a quarter of 12 is 3, and we add 3 to 12, we get 15 grams. 20%, what fraction is 20%? It is a fifth. If we increase something by a fifth, we need to divide it by 5 first, that would give us 80 litres. Add it back on, so 480 litres. Okay, and I'll pause the rest and complete, and you can copy. And there's the answers. Question 3 again, non-calculator, but this time decreasing, that's the only difference. So 10% of 40 would be 4, and when I take that away from 40, I'm left with 36. 50% is half of 30, so 15. If I take that away from 30 hours, I'm left with 15 hours. Try to give the units with each of these. 25% is a quarter. If I take a quarter off this, then I've got 3/4 left, so 6 kilograms, and so on. Pause the video and mark your work. Okay, on question 4 we're going to go back to using that calculator multiplier method. So if I want to increase 80 millilitres by 9%, if I add 9% to 100%, that would give me 109% I'm trying to find. And that as a decimal is 1.09. That's my multiplier. And I'm ready to times it by 80 to increase 80 by 9%. So 1.09 times 80, that gives me 87.2. Okay, if I increase by 70%, then I'm effectively trying to find 170%, which is 1.7 as a multiplier. I'm going to times that by 420. So 714. Okay. Most of these are quite straightforward, so I will just do the rest and you can mark. So pause the video now, have a go. Actually, I will just go through this next one because we haven't looked at any decrease ones yet with multipliers. If I want to decrease by 12%, what I'm trying to do is 100% take away 12%. Now 100 take away 12 would leave me 88%. So effectively I'm trying to find 88% here, and that as a multiplier is 0.88. And I'm going to times that by 8. So that leaves me 7.04. Just do another decrease one. So if I want to decrease something by 38%, I need to take that off 100%. So 100 take away 38 will be 62. So I'm trying to find 62%, which is 0.62 as a multiplier, timesing that by the number they gave me, 0.62 times 1,250, £775. Okay. And there's the answer to question 4. Okay, question 5, same sort of thing, just with some decimals, that's all. So if I want to decrease 90 by 7.5%, that would leave me, so if I do 100, take away 7.5, that would leave me 92.5%. That's what I'm effectively trying to find. That's equal to 0.925 as a decimal, times that by 90. And that gives me 83.25 millilitres in this case. B, I'm trying to increase by 1.2%. If I add 1.2% to 100%, that'll give me 101.2%, which is 1.012. Times that by 670. £678.04. And the last one increased by 67.4, so that give me 167.4%, or a multiplier of 1.674, and then times that by 3. So 5.022.